Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions, let's have a look at the next cost 100 unit, King Mont. I've definitely left this to the last moment, and there are already very nice reviews from other content creators, so you can have a look at those. But I guess the unique angle I could take on this review is to talk about how the JP community received him, what it's been like to use him, and then go against him. And back before EX jobs were a thing, and before they flooded JP with cost 100 units, I was interested in getting all of them, slow building them, and then doing reviews for them like this, for the benefit of global players, because I figured these units would draw a lot of attention. But now it's harder to raise units because of EX jobs, and there are too many cost 100 units, so Mont here and then Helena might be the last ones I do like this. I anticipate they will release another cost 100 unit, maybe beginning of next month or middle of this month for the year-and-a-half anniversary, but I'm going to skip it. But what's funny is that even if I hadn't sworn off cost 100 units, I would still be in the exact same place I am now. I would have them all except for Gilgamesh and Dwayne in JP. Didn't feel like I had to get Dwayne in JP because he came out in Global first, so everybody knew what he was all about. But among JP players, a lot of people predicted Mont would get the UR treatment for New Year's. It wasn't very hard to predict. And then it was about 6 months since the last cost 100 unit, Super Stern. So when Mont was announced in JP, pretty much everybody was kind of like prepared for it and okay with it. And if I remember, he was the first double price unit to get the standard pull rate in the release hatcher, and there was a Gil hatcher, might have been 500,000 a pull. There were the daily discounted shards for 60 paid Vision Ore. There was the discounted 40 shard bundle, and then enough free and discounted shards given out to get him basically to Limit Break 4. And then I ended up using him a lot at 89. He was one of the units I used to get top 30 in the arena, and he was just fine for what I needed for him. This is true for every unit, but it's not 120 or bust. Units, they're useful at, different levels, even as far down as 89. Not good for all content, but still, you can find uses for them. And especially cost 100 units, which take a while to build. You might as well use them while you're waiting. Mont is the first UR tank, if you don't count Christmas Veneta to get EX jobs. Before then, for EX jobs, they did mostly attackers, which makes sense from a metagame point of view. They're still kind of the most important units to get first, and they are splashy, so they get people excited for EX jobs. If they had released all tanks first, it would have just slowed down gameplay everywhere. But anyway, Mont in a nutshell is a physical tank with passive and active hate options, with fair magic resistance and nice breaks, but good status effects. He doesn't have as many as Ogrius, but overall he is maybe just as annoying. His damage as an attacker is not top tier. I would say he can't lead a team, but he's a good secondary attacker. Again, maybe something like Ogrius. And looking at the Trustmaster, it is an accessory that is armor level strong, and then a nice AoE buff that raises AoE attack resistance. Really, really good Trustmaster. Way better than Gilgamesh's or Super Sterns, if you ask me. Back in the old days, before EX jobs, using cost 100 units at level 89 was super viable, and so for that reason I felt like they held back on the Trustmasters. But post EX jobs, since it's easier to get to 99, they're making the Trustmasters better, as we see from both Mont and Helena. And in the last JP livestream, the champion PvP team had this Trustmaster on Kiton. Next we can look at resistances. Very high slash, decent projectile and pierce, weak to strike, and zero magic. Zero magic is really good for a physical tank actually, and it wouldn't be hard to get him to like 20, 30, 40 magic resistance. I wouldn't push for him to really tank magic. I would rather use 99 Rain, who I also used when I got top 30 in Arena. But in class matches where you can't choose your opponent, this can give you a little peace of mind. He would be more versatile than, say, Engelbert. Slash resist this high means he can get to 95, which is ridiculous and probably way more than he'll ever need. But if you know you're going against only Slash, and you can afford to use all those equipment and Esper and Vision card slots, it could be a good idea. Mont's defense can also get super high, so in most cases, it would be better to build off that and count the 25% slash resistance as a nice bonus. But defense is being countered more and more, with more breaks and more penetration. And Cloud in particular kind of melts defense, so he makes me want to consider a slash resist Mont rather than defense. But overall, Mont has some options. You can build him different ways. I've always felt like building for defense is like the beginner's way to make a tank, while resistances are a kind of a more advanced player's way to build a tank. But Mont can do either, so he's versatile among player types as well. The minus 10 strike resist is perhaps going to be the key for going against him. Christmas Veneta was kind of not very popular in JP when she was released, but once Mont came out, she got a jump in use. And there's also like EX Jiza, 2B, and later Tifa. But outside of Strike, Mont is just going to attract everyone like a magnet, and they're all going to stick to him, and he's going to be very annoying to go against. He lasts for a long time. And main job, Arc Lord, sub-jobs Nightblade and Ninja. Probably most times we will use Arc Lord the most, but if you wanted more damage out of him, Nightblade might be better. Ninja is nice for like Poison Cloud and Katon, the non-type attack, and then if you do want to use him for damage, definitely craft the Flame Tongue. That will be released either with him or soon after him, and that will work with his Katon as well. Okay, but let's look at his skills. Main job, Master Lord. Here's his level 25 EX job skill, buff defense and CT gauge. Not super necessary. You could definitely leave him at 115. And I was planning on leaving him at 115, but I got very lucky with some pulls, so took him to 120. Here is one of his marquee attacks. A little bit of range, very good AoE, medium damage, and then will break slash resistance. And this will do the same amount as Stern or Gilgamesh, 38%. So very useful based on like your teammates if they are also slash. This does the break after the damage, so it's not quite as good as Stern or Gilgamesh, but good for setting up teammates. But this is actually a skill that I turn off a lot, and as you can see I've turned it off here. It has kind of the best range, so he will give high priority to it. But if you want other stuff like attack or other breaks, or you want to use like a status effect, then you want to turn this off. And then also, if Mont's teammates are not using slash anyway, this might be a waste of not a waste, but not used to its fullest potential. So yeah, you might want to consider turning this one off. Okay, here's maybe his biggest multiplier, big damage, at range, has a chance of don't act. Also very powerful status effect here. Here's an AoE buff. This will raise all element resistances. But this I've turned off as well. For PvP, when I'm using him as a tank, I want him to go to the front. I don't want him staying back buffing teammates, so I do turn this off pretty often. But for PvE, this is going to be amazing, this elemental buff. Okay, here is one of his best skills. This is a self buff. Will raise hate, and then for 3 turns will raise agility. And then this can stack with itself up to 3 times, which is pretty amazing. His AI is such that he will usually use this turn 1. And then here, this is kind of a bread and butter attack for him. Kind of a low-ish AP cost. Will break barriers, short range, small damage. He uses this quite a lot if he is within range. Breaking barriers, also a very nice utility skill. Okay, Subjob Master Lord. He has a Twin Break, a little bit longer range, medium damage, and then breaks attack and magic. I like this attack. This is one of my favorites of his. Not super flashy, but yeah. And then here, I often turn this off as well. Short range AoE will cast regen. This is fine, but again, I don't want him buffing teammates so much as going to the front for PvP. Okay, then Subjob Nightblade. AP Drain, this could be good for manual play. Here is a spinning attack, big damage, no status effects, kind of expensive however. Injury Blade, this is one of my favorites of his. Medium range, a little bit of AoE, medium damage, will lower healing efficacy. And Stun Blade, he uses this a lot too. Medium range, single target, chance of stun. Nice AP cost as well. And then a double resist AoE buff will raise pierce and projectile resistance. I like this more on 9S. I feel like he is more built for the particular like pierce and projectile resistance. If you wanted a more kind of well-rounded defense for Mont, this could be fine. But again, I like to turn off the AoE buffs for PvP. Alright, and then for the ninja subjob, we got Poison Cloud, Katon. We got the accuracy self buff. He doesn't have any 100% hit attacks, so if you're going against evade units, this might be interesting. Here's a 3-hit attack. This is very useful for raids. And then there is the Nightblade skill, which will give the 3-hit attack, but he doesn't have that, so for raids, Ninja might be the better subjob. And Shuriken and Hide. I don't know why you would ever use Hide with him. Okay, support abilities. We got the ninja ones, Agility and Luck up. This Mont is actually kind of evadey. He's got these stats, so I don't know. You could put like Mithril armor on him, or like some Trustmasters, maybe some evade vision cards. Put him on an evade team. That might be surprising to go against. But also Shukuchi for move and jump. Here's the Nightblade support ability, attack, and again accuracy up, evade down. Here is his Arc Lord support ability, HP, defense, and hate up. So yeah, again, he has both passive and active sources of hate. And then gain AP up. I see Megamont with bells quite often, but if you gave him this, maybe he wouldn't need that. And then reaction abilities, here's the Master Lord one. When he takes damage, that will mitigate the damage. Here is the poison counter from Ninja. And then counter swing, a slash attack will counterattack when hit with physical attacks. I usually use the damage mitigation one. And then Limit Break. This is one of the most threatening things when you're going against Mont. But AoE kind of surrounds him and then has a very high chance of Berserk, which is one of the better status effects out there. For one thing, it can't be cancelled by a normal attack. So this is kind of similar to Miranda's Limit Break, except Confusion can be cancelled by normal attacks. And then Berserk, it will disable pretty much everything except for just regular attacks. So you can take out a battle for like 3 turns, healers or attackers that rely on AP skills or people like that. So yeah, very, very powerful ability here. Low priority, however. It's got the short range, you know, and a high cost, so you kind of have to turn off a lot of other skills to get this out, but it would be very worth it. I would take some time to experiment with this Limit Break, see how it works for you. Alright, and then Master Ability, he gets the typical Fire Party buff, and then for himself, raise Area of Effect Resistance 15, so he is tanky. Okay, and then I guess we can think about equipment. There's the usual tank stuff, but I do want to draw special attention to Augreus' Trustmaster. I was lukewarm on it for a long while, but the last couple months, Protect and Shell, their stock has really gone up. And those are self-buffs that Mont cannot give himself. So if you wanted to improve his magic defense, or if you already max like some kind of defense or slash resistance, and you just wanted something more on top of it, Protect and Shell could be pretty powerful. I have tried this, and it actually has higher priority than his hate self-buff. So if that were a problem, maybe you want to leave this off, but very interesting option for Mont, I think. Next, I wanted to talk real quick about vision cards. There are the usual ones, like Golem, certain attack resistance up, Leonis Castle and stuff. He probably doesn't need a Vow of Love, but depending on the build, maybe you will need it. You'll use like another support ability instead of the innate hate. Maybe you want both of the ninja movement abilities, I don't know. Fire element party buff cards are still kind of in a rough spot because most of them are now limited time. But I talked about like Phoenix and then the Mont card in a recent video. Those are excellent for him. I do want to point out this one here. Path to Revenge. This might be a good sleeper card for him. Will raise slash attack, so that could be good pairing with his slash resistance break. Personal ability is defense up, he likes that. And then the when you max it, the elemental party buff will be fire units get magic resistance up 15. So you could use this instead of Phoenix, you could use it maybe instead of Fenrir. This might be a good card to try out. And then for Espers, this should be pretty obvious, but like Golem, Death Machine, Phoenix, they all have defense on them. Demon Wall and Siren could also be good for the slash resistance, or you could do any of them like strike resistance or whatever. But Phoenix in particular is good for him because it can give him both water resistance and strike resistance, which are his two weaknesses. And then finally, I guess we can talk about his faith. You can see that mine is very high because I like his status effects. It will make him take more damage from magic attacks, but I don't really use him against magic users when I can. But again, since I see a lot of JP players use him with bells, I think at least 50 you want to put him at. Okay, I think that will do it for this video. In the comments I'll put links to some other previous videos that I've made of him recently, like arena showcases or field tests or stuff like that. Okay, I hope everybody who's pulling for him gets him quickly. Thanks for watching and we'll see you again. Take care.